Infidelity can cause a form of PTSD. Imagine this, you're going throughout your day, maybe making dinner or getting ready for bed, and you see something, a text message, a notification, a piece of clothing, a detail that doesn't quite fit. What it feels like in the moment is that the floor just drops out from underneath you. Your chest tightens, your mind races, but also goes completely blank at the same time. You keep rereading what you saw, hoping that you somehow misunderstood it. Part of you is searching for a logical explanation, but another part already knows. In that moment, everything you thought was stable, your relationship, your future, your understanding of reality, becomes open to question. For most people, this is where it starts. Not just sadness or anger, but shattering. In the days and weeks that follow, it can turn into intrusive images that won't stop returning, a racing heart at random moments, hypervigilance, checking phones, replaying conversations, scanning for danger, and a feeling that their perception of reality just can't be trusted anymore. And a lot of people feel like they are traumatized, genuinely traumatized from the event. And when they try to explain it to other people, they sometimes hear, "Come on, it's not like you were at war. You really think you have PTSD? It's just cheating." So I want to address that question. Can infidelity actually be traumatic? And so I'm willing to address the differences, because obviously war is life-threatening. It involves direct physical danger, violence, and a threat to survival. Combat trauma is real, it's awful, and the effects that it has on people is well documented. So no, I'm not here to say that discovering infidelity is identical to being in combat. But what I am claiming is that the science around betrayal and trauma is a lot more nuanced than most people realize. And by listening to this, I hope you'll understand why some people experience relationship betrayal as deeply destabilizing. And that doesn't mean everybody will, but why they're not just being weak or dramatic or exaggerating. So let's talk about what trauma actually is. It's not about the thing that happened to you. It's about the response that your nervous system has to what happened. Clinically, the way that trauma is defined is focused on whether an experience overwhelms your ability to cope and creates a persistent feeling of being threatened or being in a dangerous situation. And so a lot of people will think that trauma is ranked, where war might be a 10 out of 10 context. A car accident, for example, might be a 7 or 6 out of 10. And then relationship betrayal, maybe that's a 3 or a 4. But that is not how the brain works. The brain doesn't have a trauma meter. It responds to perceived threats to safety. And the interesting thing is that for both physical survival threats, like violence, accidents, or life-threatening situations, and for attachment threats, threats to our emotional safety and our trusted bonds, both of these activate the same threat response systems in the brain. The amygdala fires up for both of them. Stress hormones flood your system for both of them. And your body shifts into a state of hypervigilance for both of them. So the real question isn't, is infidelity objectively as bad as war? The question is, can the sudden collapse of a trusted bond activate trauma responses in the nervous system? And according to the research, yes, it can. For some people. It doesn't mean that this will happen to everyone, but it absolutely can happen. And this is why it's often referred to as betrayal trauma. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. Our closest relationships are not just nice to have things. They're part of how we regulate stress, maintain emotional stability, and just feel safe in the world. So when a primary attachment relationship is suddenly disrupted, especially through deception, secrecy, or just being betrayed, it can feel like the ground has disappeared beneath you. And the research has shown that betrayal trauma of any kind, whether it's infidelity specifically or not, can produce the same symptoms that resemble PTSD. The intrusive, unwanted thoughts about the betrayal, hypervigilance, emotional numbing or detachment, difficulty trusting others, sleep disruption, anxiety. And again, not everyone will experience all of these. Many people feel grief, anger, sadness, which are just normal responses to loss and to hurt. That's not necessarily trauma. That's painful, but it's just typical emotional processing. Trauma-like symptoms emerge when the betrayal was sudden and shocking, there was prolonged deception and gaslighting, the relationship was a primary source of emotional safety and they didn't have that many other people they could truly lean on, and it also gets complicated when there was previous trauma. And even with these descriptions, I want to be clear that there is not a hard and fast rule for who gets traumatized and who doesn't. Sometimes it just happens. It's based on a million tiny different factors. And if the cards are stacked in the right way, for some people, they'll fall into this trauma response, and for other people, they won't necessarily. So to be crystal clear, I'm not saying infidelity is the exact same as war trauma. I'm not saying everyone who gets cheated on develops PTSD. Not even everyone who goes to war develops PTSD. And I'm not saying that these experiences should be equated morally or socially. But what I am saying is that dismissing the impact is wrong, especially if you are the unfaithful spouse. Dismissing what happened to your partner as the result of your betrayal, even though you probably did not intend to wreck their life in this way or to this extent, is grossly negligent, because the brain's threat detection system doesn't only respond to physical danger. It also responds to this collapse of trust and safety, and for some people that collapse is in fact traumatic. We often think of trauma and drama as being interchangeable. Well, that wasn't dramatic enough to count as trauma. That is not how it works. The key question is, did this experience overwhelm this person's sense of safety and trust in a way that their nervous system is still responding to? But again, I want to just leave crystal clear that if you know someone, or if it's you yourself, who's experienced relationship betrayal and they're very destabilized, they're not just being too sensitive. It might just be that their nervous system is genuinely flipped upside down and trying desperately to find safe footing.